A single man convinced young souls to commit unimaginable horrors. Charles Manson and his notorious family unleashed terror across Southern California in 1969. Their secluded compound, Spahn Ranch, a dilapidated movie set, became their bizarre kingdom. This remote location housed their twisted ideology and daily rituals. Manson, a disturbed individual, brainwashed his followers with his apocalyptic vision. He preached about helter-skelter, an impending race war he believed would sweep America. His prophecies promised a new world order with his family at its head. They practiced strange rites and lived in squalor under his absolute command. They embraced a lifestyle of drugs-free love and crime. The cult members were largely young women and men seeking belonging or purpose. Manson exploited their vulnerabilities with cruel precision. On August 9, 1969, 5 individuals met a gruesome end at 1000 Cielo Drive. Sharon Tate, the 8-month pregnant actress, was among them. Jay Sebring, Abigail Folger, Wojciech Frykowski, and Stephen Parent also perished. Their lives were extinguished by 3 female family members and Tex Watson. The next evening, August 10, 1967, 2 more lives were taken, Leno LaBianca and Rosemary LaBianca, in their Los Feliz home. These 7 murders sent shockwaves across the globe, shattering the counterculture innocence. Messages like "pig" and "helter-skelter" scrawled in blood at crime scenes pointed to a chilling motive. The Los Angeles Police Department and County Sheriff's Department embarked on a massive investigation. Finding perpetrators proved a monumental task due to the random nature of attacks. Evidence collection and witness interviews were extensive. Eventually, evidence led authorities to Manson and his family. The trials that followed were sensational in American legal history, capturing national attention for over 1 year. Prosecutors presented overwhelming evidence detailing family activities and roles in the killings. Susan Atkins, Patricia Krenwinkel, and Leslie Van Houten were convicted alongside Manson and Watson. They received life sentences after death penalties were commuted. Manson remained incarcerated for 46 years until his death in 2017 at age 83. His dark legacy continues to fascinate and horrify. Numerous books, over 100 documentaries and films unraveled the enigma of his control. The family's influence extended beyond 9 main murder charges, with other killings possibly connected. The exact number of individuals directly part of the Manson family at its peak is estimated at around 50. Many former members tried to distance themselves from cult infamy. Some convicted members have spent over 50 years in prison with repeated parole denials. The true horror of these events remains a stark warning against unchecked influence and human mind vulnerability. The impact on victims' families endures across decades. 7 lives ended for a twisted prophecy. Charles Manson's chilling vision of helter-skelter drove his family's murderous rampage across Southern California in 1969. This apocalyptic race war delusion fueled a string of gruesome acts orchestrated with horrifying precision, a deadly symphony of madness. His followers believed his every word, embracing a bizarre existence at Spahn Ranch, a decrepit movie set in the remote Topanga Canyon. They lived in squalor under his absolute command, consuming potent drugs and practicing strange rituals. Manson's absolute control over approximately 50 members, especially young women and vulnerable men, was complete, a terrifying psychological mastery. His mind manipulation was a horrifying art, twisting innocent minds into instruments of his will. On August 9, 1969, a dark night descended upon 10050 Cielo Drive in Benedict Canyon. 5 innocent people, including 8-month pregnant actress Sharon Tate, tragically perished there. Jay Sebring, Abigail Folger, Wojciech Frykowski, and Stephen Parent also met their end at the hands of 3 female family members, Susan Atkins, Patricia Krenwinkel, and Leslie Van Houten, along with Tex Watson. Their grotesque messages of pig and helter-skelter scrawled in blood at the crime scene starkly pointed to the deranged motive. The very next evening, August 10, 1969, 2 more souls, Leno LaBianca and Rosemary LaBianca, were brutally murdered in their Los Feliz home, extending the terror spree. These 7 horrific killings shattered an era's counterculture innocence, sending shockwaves far beyond the city of Los Angeles, and indeed, the entire globe. The Los Angeles Police Department and County Sheriff's Department launched a massive investigation, struggling initially with the seemingly random and chaotic nature of the attacks, which obscured the clear connection to a single group. Evidence collection was meticulous, spanning countless hours and hundreds of witness interviews covering vast geographical areas. Eventually, the overwhelming weight of evidence from a stolen vehicle and a subsequent tip pointed directly to Manson and his family. The sensational trials that followed consumed well over 1 year of American legal history, captivating a nation with their shocking revelations. Prosecutors meticulously detailed the family's daily activities, their twisted ideology, and their specific roles in each of the 7 gruesome murders, presenting an overwhelming case. Susan Atkins, Patricia Krenwinkel, and Leslie Van Houten were convicted alongside Manson and Watson for their heinous roles. All 5 received life sentences after their initial death penalties were controversially commuted in 1972. Manson spent 46 years incarcerated until his death in 2017 at age 83 years old, never expressing remorse for the 7 lives he ended. His dark legacy endures through over 100 documentaries, numerous books, and countless films dissecting the enigma of his powerful, malevolent influence over minds. Some convicted members have spent well over 50 years in prison, facing repeated parole denials, a stark and enduring reminder of their horrific deeds and the permanent scars left on their victims' families. The true number of victims connected to the family's broader criminal activities might exceed the 9 main murder charges, underscoring a wider trail of terror and disappearances. These events stand as a chilling and unforgettable warning about unchecked influence, extreme ideological brainwashing, and the frightening vulnerability of the human mind under such extreme manipulation, a deadly symphony of madness that echoes through time. A horrifying swastika carved into a forehead was not the deepest scar. Charles Manson's sinister influence spread like a desert wildfire, consuming many more lives than the widely known 7 victims. Gary Hinman met a gruesome end on July 27, 1969, a full 2 weeks before the Tate LaBianca massacres. His killer, Bobby Beausoleil, was a family associate convicted for that brutal act. Another dark secret emerged with the disappearance of Donald "Shorty" Shea, a ranch hand at Spawn Ranch. He vanished on August 26, 1969, with his remains only discovered in 1977 at the ranch. Manson and other family members like Steve Grogan were ultimately charged with Shorty's murder, deepening the public's understanding of the cult's pervasive violence beyond the main 2 nights. This insidious web of crimes included numerous assaults, robberies, and drug trafficking designed to sustain their bizarre existence across multiple remote California hideouts. They roamed from the decrepit movie set of Spawn Ranch to the harsh, unforgiving landscape of Barker Ranch in Death Valley. The sheer cost of prosecuting and incarcerating these individuals mounted over decades. Each main defendant faced well over a dozen parole hearings, some reaching 22 attempts like Leslie Van Houten or 14 for Patricia Krenwinkel. Bruce Davis, a lesser-known accomplice, faced nearly 30 parole boards for his role in the Hinman and Shea killings. The legal battles stretched for years, with countless appeals filed by the convicted members. Manson himself spent 46 years in state prison, his 83 years ending behind bars in 2017. His unrepentant life continued to captivate a morbid public, sparking thousands of news articles, over 100 documentaries, hundreds of books, and scores of films exploring his dark charisma. The psychological hold he maintained over his young followers, especially women like Susan Atkins and Linda Kasabian, remains a chilling study in manipulation. He exploited their vulnerabilities with a potent mix of drugs, fear, and warped ideology. Many other individuals peripheral to the main murder charges faced lesser sentences or were simply ostracized from society for their tangential involvement. The long shadow of the family's actions forever altered the perception of the 1960s counterculture. It shifted from an era of peace and love to one tainted by extreme paranoia and the horrifying realization of unchecked cult power. The victims' families have endured over 5 decades of pain and advocacy, tirelessly fighting against parole for those responsible. Their collective voice remains a powerful testament to the lasting damage inflicted by these acts. The actual scope of the family's destructive reach may never be fully known, with speculation of perhaps a dozen additional disappearances or uncharged deaths still haunting investigators and historians. These unconfirmed cases paint an even wider picture of chaos and terror orchestrated by one man's twisted vision. The The legal system expended immense resources tracking down every lead, interviewing hundreds of potential witnesses, and painstakingly gathering evidence across several counties. The true number of individuals who felt the direct impact of Manson's twisted world extended into the hundreds, from direct victims and their loved ones to investigators, lawyers, and even the prison staff who housed these notorious criminals for half a century. The final secrets, though, often buried deep in court transcripts and archived files, continue to surface, providing new insight into one of America's most infamous criminal sagas.